The LA wildfires.
Yes.
How do we want to
So
start that?
Let's start with the
I want to
tweet.
start by putting up,
No?
yeah, Trump's tweet,
Yeah,
right?
let's start with
What
that
he
tweet. That's a
thinks,
good one.
because he calls out, basically, he calls out Gavin Newsom, and obviously, if you look at all the news outlets and the media narratives, they're calling Trump basically wrong, right? And they're using water experts, right? Just like in COVID, they had other experts to say that, oh no, Newsom is basically trying his best and there's nothing he could do about it, and this is all climate change, and yeah, we're gonna need more money and donations and blah blah blah, the usual fucking thing that goes on, right?
I love how
So
in
No.
the tweet he changes his last name. I'll read
yeah,
it. I'll read it, but it's hilarious. I love the way he just he can do that. He doesn't just keep it so extremely serious. He just trolls and is necessary
yeah,
so to convey the anger that people have toward this guy. Governor Gavin Newscum, Newscum, refused to sign the water restoration declaration to put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snow melt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. He wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work, but didn't care about the people of California. Ridiculous. Now the ultimate price is being paid. I will demand that this incompetent governor allow beautiful, clean, fresh water to flow into California. He is to blame for this. On top of it all, no water for fire hydrants, no firefighting planes, a true disaster.
So
Yeah.
this is another prime example of people put in power, put in place, being absolutely misinformed on situations that could go wrong, having no preparation, and now you got full-on communities, 150 billion in damage, all directly to, contributed because of the leader put in power.
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense.
yeah. And now before we get into the sketchy facts, right, that we found that obviously the news now isn't talking about, but before they were, we have a Washington Post article here, and it basically says, the classic, a Newsom spokesperson responded that no such document existed, said that the governor is only focused on protecting the people and not playing politics, making sure firefighters have all the resources they need, a classic political answer. But then you got Trump's side who's saying no. There's actually a 2020 memorandum that he signed, that Trump signed, meant to direct more water to Southern and Central California, because they realized that this was an issue back then. And California sued to block that effort, arguing that it could harm endangered species, which is that fish, the smelt. I don't know how important that is, but when it comes to people, obviously you should be choosing the people. And then it ends pretty much with what all news media outlets are saying. Trump's contention that Newsom's water management decisions were to blame for the severity of the fires is not supported by the facts, multiple water experts told the Washington Post, right? So they're making it seem like Trump is just blaming this one decision on all the fires when no, that's not what's happening. But it obviously is a factor to why now all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we don't have enough water, we don't have enough resources to stop this problem. What can we do? There's nothing we can do. It's only climate change. We got to invest a bunch of money and raise your taxes, right?
Hmm.
So now, with all that being said, could we question, are we conspiracy theorists for putting up the question or what their intentions were when it's not scientifically justified, and for him not to sign on these documents for this type of protection? So is it possible that this happened to wipe off full-on communities to recreate smart cities? Are we crazy and off the grid for thinking things like this? See,
No.
once again, people are being labeled a certain type of way of thinking just because they seem to question what should be questionable.
Well,
Yep.
But once
they'll
again, we're being
always
labeled and we're being shut down because we're just literally asking simple questions.
they'll always push on the conspiracy theory part. Like, first of all, you gotta understand where that term came from. It's a CIA term that they invented just to discredit people from learning the truth, right? So there's
Yeah,
always gonna be
fact.
pushback on whenever you have a theory of something because we as people can just see what's been put out there, and then we can connect dots and you know, make a theory out of what's going on. A theory doesn't just come from nowhere. Like this whole smart city thing with the LA comes from an initiative that they brought years ago of wanting to make LA a smart city. So there's things backing it up, right? It's not saying like, yeah, they did it for that purpose, but it could be a theory of why they did it.
Questionable.
There's also like a lot of questionable things with this fire. There's videos I showed Popa yesterday of a satellite that captured 3 different fires when it started at the same time. That stuff doesn't happen. Like if you get a fire that spreads, it usually starts for it's a pinpoint and then it spreads. It doesn't. It's not 3 different pinpoints and all of them igniting at the same time. It's highly unusual. There is the whole thing with the budget. A month before the fires came, the firefighter budget was lower, and then there is the whole thing with the insurance companies. 3 months prior to the fires, they took out the fire protection, just the fire protection from the homes. So
Like, how does that happen? And why are we crazy for asking that?
if when you start linking all this stuff, you go, okay, maybe it wasn't just like accidental.
So-
Maybe there
so
has
what
to
I
be
was-
something with like a plan.
What I was reading up on is the reason why the your policies were canceled for the fire was because California introduced new legislation that would cap the amount that insurance companies could raise the premium. And so what that caused insurance companies to do to say, okay, I'm stepping away from the liability, then I'm just going to drop all of the customers that we got with this fire protection. And now when you tie it into the smart home meters, potentially causing the fires to start, and some homes that do not have the smart home meter installed not going up in blaze, you know, you start to piece all the pieces together and start to make sense of it. It looks very, very suspicious.
Very fishy. It makes you question. It makes you say it again. Okay, so once again, the leader put something in place for the insurance companies to be like, okay, we can't provide that anymore.
Yep.
Does he know something, and was he instructed, or is he part of an agenda to put these things in place?
Yeah.
Right.
And like we mentioned, I have a few links. I mean, we'll put it up after, links to the articles that we could put up. But like you said, this one from Newsweek, it says Gavin Newscum cut $100 million from fire prevention budget before California fires. That's what Joseph touched up on. Another article from firehouse.com, due to wildfire risks, California homeowners lose insurance. And that was happening way before these fires. And then even this one link that I found where it says the reservoir in Pacific Palisades, which is in Los Angeles, was out of commission when the fire started. So they turned off this reservoir of water, and they did it for, you know, their own reasons. I don't know if they were testing or whatever the excuse that they have, but they turned it off at the moment that they're going to need it the most. And then obviously these fires happen, and they're like, oh, fuck, you know, there's nothing we can do now. So it's all just a matter of coincidence.
You know,
it just seems sketchy.
it seems so intricate.
Interconnected.
Yeah, but it's so intricative, almost like the pager bombings. You know, like a lot of work would have had to been put in preemptively. You know what I'm saying? Like people would have had. Some people have to know. Some people have to be in the know.
Yeah. It's like, and this brings back, it's like the 9/11. It's like how the building's been sold a few months or years prior to that happening, and some things have like changed internally. I think from like security to like, so a couple things within the buildings. I just tied it back to that scenario. And when people found these things out, they were called conspiracy theorists just for questioning that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that was kind of off topic, but yeah.
No, it makes sense, and I kind of want to play this last clip because, you know, people are going to listen to, maybe they never heard of this theory, or they think that the fact that we're linking it to a preparation for an LA smart city is just, you know, some conspiracies that we found online that, you know, conservatives are spreading. But no, you have here in this link that we're going to show, you have Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, you know, the people that are getting together, globalists that are trying to change society, right? And they're the same group that states by 2030 that we will all own nothing and be happy. And they also promise that by then, by 2030, 1 billion people will be displaced because of climate change. And they're really the ones that are pushing climate change hard and probably have it in the past. And you even have Klaus Schwab mentioning LA, what's going to happen. He doesn't mention how it's going to happen, obviously, because, I don't think people that are living in LA would just want to let them take their homes or do this large scale construction. So, obviously it's convenient that now there's fires, so they're going to be able to, without insurance, the people aren't going to have insurance, so they're going to be able to buy their property for pennies on the dollar. So it's all convenient. But let's just play that clip.
And before the clip, we gotta really emphasize this, because people who look at people who question things like this and they're like, oh, conspiracy theorists, and they're always like, who said this? Who said that? Who this? Who that? We're telling you, Klaus Schwab, Economic Forum, Davos agenda, 2030 agenda. Just take a little bit of time. You don't have to believe what we say. This is so important. Do not believe on everything we say. Don't believe everything TV says. Don't believe everything social media says.
Yeah, do your own research.
Just find the things to read and do your own research. Be self-informed. And this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. Majority of people don't have the time to get informed, and that's where they get us.
Yeah, just know that the end goal of everything is a new world order, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a new way of governing the world. That's the end goal for these people. So call me whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
We meet for
Sounds
the
like an Andy
20th.
name.
I hope I will have the pleasure still to be invited for the meeting. When we meet for the 20th Governance Summit, you will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
You know, one thing about these videos is they make it seem like it's such a positive thing.
Yeah.
Well, they always do.
That's how they sell you. That's how they sell you on things. But he forgot to say that there's going to be cameras everywhere. There's going to be facial recognition. If you do something, you don't pay a fine, your car will not come and pick you up to drive you to the airport. Yeah. See, they sell you on beautiful parks, car driven.
People
keep the carbon dioxide down. But what about you making it to the airport and missing your flight? Are you gonna have that?
Bro, if people want to see what the future looks like, you can. What's that show on Netflix? I forget the name of it.
Family Guy?
No. It's I'll put it up over here. The name of the show, but the name of the show literally it's like it brings up scenarios of like the future of things that can happen, and it's scary. But fuck the show. Look at China, bro. China is doing China like when you talk about China, you don't hear a lot of things because the country is so protective with their information, just like Russia or just like North Korea. You don't learn about these things because they're so protective of what gets out of the country. That journalists have a hard time getting information to come out. But China is so advanced that they have these systems implemented already. They have cameras everywhere that record and facial recognition you. So when you commit a crime, you'll get a ticket or you'll get arrested right on the spot.
Yeah. Remember when Justin Trudeau like gave props to China and they're like, oh, they're a great example. I remember this happened a few years ago. I think it was during like 2020 or that time.
Yeah,
insane, bro. They're telling you dead to your face, like who they like, what their model is.
No, but not just that. Even California, Gavin Newscum, when China was coming to visit just for that weekend, that's when he spent a bunch of money to clean up the streets, clean up the homeless people. That was the only time he intervened to really help the city, and it was when China was coming.
That's like North Korea having that visitation city where people can go on a tour and have that like only that city, then have a great example of what the picture for North Korea would be.
We have a couple of videos that Miggy put. Oh, I want to bring this one up. Is of Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is like, if you want to see one of the people that used to be part of the club and got out, or maybe he was never part of the club. He was just part of that society, and is now superly outspoken. Mel Gibson created The Passion of Christ. He created recently another movie where it talks about the trafficking of kids from countries, and they move it into the U.S. Great movies. He has a thing called the Angel. I might be chalking it, but it's called the Angel Casting or something like that. It's like his own production channel where, like, because he got denied from so many places like Hollywood and stuff like that, he made it his own, and he's releasing like really good movies. But here's a clip of him talking about what he thinks about like the fire hydrants and like everything that's going on in LA right now. So
you know, I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be, you know? Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
yeah, you see,
It's funny how it's extremely funny how he's just laughing it off and just like throws the question in. But then, you know, a person who just labeled people be like, oh, this guy is just a guy yapping. And that's the picture I sent. So go back to fire trucks real quick. So what that picture was pretty much one of the states sending trucks in.
Oh, right here.
Sending trucks into, read that. Put it closer.
He is
being stopped. Yeah.
So Oregon sent 60 fire trucks to help fight the fires in Los Angeles. They are parked in San Francisco, not allowed to be used because they don't have proof that they meet California emission standards. Los Angeles continues to burn because California politicians are insane. That is an insane thing to do. These trucks are coming to help fix a fucking emergency state that's going on, and they say no, it doesn't meet the emission standards. Like you gotta be you gotta not want help. Like you know when you don't want help, you do not want help.
The fires haven't done the damage we're looking for, so like stall them for another 2 weeks.
Talking about emissions, look at all the emissions with all the fires, bro. Fuck.
Lost.
That is crazy.